Interspecies enrichment in Planet Zoo. While it's not necessarily required to house animals together, it certainly does help. Instead of buying your animals toys like rubber duckies and balls and more balls and rubber duckies, interspecies enrichment fills the enrichment need for animals without having to buy a single item. These enrichments are based on real-life zoos and real-life practices that happen in between animals, both in the wild and in captivity, so it's just a really cool system that Planet Zoo introduced. And with each and every new DLC and anniversary animal, this list just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. So I figure, why not take a look at this right before we're about to get a new DLC, and look at the interspecies enrichments for all of Planet Zoo. My name is Leaf, and it's so great that you guys are able to join me today as we go into this deep dive. Now, this is going to be focused on unmodded Planet Zoo, specifically for the franchise players out there. So let's just pop on over to this lovely little spreadsheet I made, and let's check out some interspecies enrichment. Alright, this looks like a bit of a mess, but I swear it's going to make sense once we actually jump in here. Now, there's quite a few interspecies enrichments that only occur for one or two animals to each other, and we'll check these guys out first. First on our list, we have the red crown crane matching with the Japanese macaque. These animals have a shared range map in Planet Zoo and in real life, which allows them to cross together in some very cool fashions. Red crown cranes and Japanese macaques are synonymous with the island of Japan, so it only makes sense that our two Japanese animals in Planet Zoo have interspecies enrichment with each other. Next on our list is our only smaller African animal interspecies enrichment. This is just for the aardvark and the meerkat. Both burrowing animals, and it's even cooler since the aardvark uses a large burrow and the meerkat uses a small burrow. These subterranean animals absolutely make a fantastic mix for Planet Zoo when it comes to making these very unique interspecies habitats that I think that would be a really cool thing for you guys to try out. We're gonna pop over to Asia for this next one. We have the Przewalski's wild horse, and we also have the Bactrian camel. Both of these animals are found on the steppes of Asia, in Mongolia, in China. It's just a really awesome, unique, biodiverse area, and they make for a really wonderful interspecies enrichment as well. Most people think of the desert when it comes to the camels. What people don't necessarily remember is that camels are native and have also been domesticated all throughout Mongolia and the rest of the steppes around that region. So it's just a really awesome mix for a really underrepresented area. Next on our list, we pop down to Madagascar, where we see that all three lemurs actually have interspecies enrichment with each other. The red-ruffed lemur, the black and white ruffed lemur, and the ring-tailed lemur are 3 out of the 4 Madagascan animals we have in Planet Zoo, with the other one being the fossa. You don't want to throw those guys in with these. But these 3 animals can be housed together, even though I prefer to showcase lemurs on their own. It really is super cool that we can create these diverse habitats where they can all interspecies enrichment each other's. Is that a verb? I don't know. Beyond that, we also have the European fallow deer and the anniversary animal for our second anniversary, the red deer. Both of these animals are found in Europe, and they are both very beautiful creatures. I am a huge fan of deer species, especially in Planet Zoo, and it's just really awesome that we're able to create these very biodiverse landscapes and habitats in Planet Zoo, especially for walkthroughs, which both of these animals are. Deer forests are always some of my favorite things to experience in a zoo, and just the fact that we can create these and they will enrich each other is just a really fantastic thing to have. Alright, here's where it kind of gets messy. We're gonna take a trip down under. So pretty much your triangle over here centers around the red kangaroo, the red-necked wallaby, and the emu, which can all share a habitat with each other. However, the red kangaroo gets interspecies enrichment from the koala, and the quokka gets interspecies enrichment from the emu. However, I think this is the perfect time to mention that when you're making these interspecies enrichment habitats, you don't necessarily have to have every single animal specifically have interspecies enrichment with each other. Say for example, you make a habitat with the red kangaroo that has interspecies enrichment with the koala, with the emu, and the red-necked wallaby. What if you want to throw the quokka in there? Of course you can. In Planet Zoo, most of the animals that will fight are only herbivores and predators, and the occasional rhino and hippo fight. However, beyond that, if you want to mix your animals and get the most amount of interspecies enrichment that you can, stay tuned for our next one. The Americas are just this big cluster, and this collared peccary that we recently got as an anniversary animal brought both of these groups together. First, looking at North America, we have the North American beaver, the raccoon, as well as the striped skunk, having an interspecies enrichment triangle over here. All three of these animals can be placed together, which I think is just so cool, because you have the semi-aquatic beaver over here who would just tend to stay in the water. You have the raccoon over here, which is a relatively arboreal animal, and you have the striped skunk, which is a terrestrial animal. It just makes for a really awesome combination of animals that I feel like I kind of want to do in my next zoo. Beyond that, the skunk also has interspecies enrichment bonus with the prairie dog, who also has interspecies enrichment bonus with the American bison. Now, the American bison has interspecies enrichment with 3 other animals, those being the pronghorn antelope, the prairie dog, as well as the collared peccary. So realistically, you can make a habitat for all of these animals in here, and there won't be too many issues. However, once we get to South America over here, we could see that capybara is everybody's friend. Having interspecies enrichment with the llama, capuchin, collared peccary, giant anteater, maned wolf, Baird's tapir, and even the Galapagos giant tortoise having the only interspecies enrichment for that tortoise. It's a really cool thing to see. Of course, there are some issues in here where it kind of makes it the not so perfect habitat. The capybara does get along with all of these animals. However, the Baird's tapir only gets along with the capybara, giant anteater, and the capuchin monkey. The llama, on the other hand, only gets along with the collared peccary and the capybara. The capuchin monkey gets along with the collared peccary, giant anteater, capybara, and the Baird's tapir. And the maned wolf, of course, gets along with the capybara and the giant anteater. Now, I do think that you would be able to make an interspecies enrichment habitat for all of these animals together. It might be a little bit difficult, but I think you guys might be able to pull it off. The maned wolf, while it is a carnivore, it necessarily isn't a bad carnivore. I know that's kind of weird and like speciesist for me to say, but if you put this animal with the rest of these animals, I really don't see any issue with that. Moving over to Southeast Asia, this is where we get to see 2 animals taking such a strong lead for interspecies enrichment that it just tops the rest of the competition. The Asian small-clawed otter has interspecies enrichment bonuses with 6 animals, those being the Indian rhinoceros, with that one being the only one that it has interspecies enrichment bonuses with, the lar gibbon, the Bornean orangutan, the Malayan tapir, the binturong, as well as the proboscis monkey. Taking a quick look at the binturong too, the binturong has interspecies enrichment bonus with the Malayan tapir, and is the only one to have interspecies enrichment with the sun bear. Again, the sun bear is in another maned wolf situation where it is a carnivore. I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting this sun bear with the rest of these animals, but I don't think it would be too big of an issue, but let me know your experiments in your own zoos. The Indian elephant is a very strange one to see in here because it is just a huge animal, and typically elephants don't do too good with other animals, but zoos in the past have put them with proboscis monkey, and they really haven't had any issues. The same with the Malayan tapir. They're a relatively chunky animal that can hold their ground relatively well. Beyond that, we also have the orangutan, the Bornean orangutan specifically, who has interspecies enrichment bonuses with the otter, the Malayan tapir, as well as the largibbon, and is one of only 2 animals that has interspecies enrichment, with the siamang over here. The siamang can only have interspecies enrichment bonus with the largibbon, of course. Another strange one in here as well is the wild water buffalo, which, ignore what I said earlier about the Indian rhino, this one actually does have interspecies enrichment with the wild water buffalo. Very cool over there. It also has interspecies enrichment bonus with the Malayan tapir, of course. And I believe that covers it. You could probably do a huge Southeast Asian exhibit with all of these animals in here. Maybe not the sun bear, but you could do a really, really awesome and diverse habitat with all of these guys. Can you tell I've been dreading this part? Let's start off simple. Let's go to the Congo. The red river hog is a blessing of an animal that I think every single person in Planet Zoo is so thankful for. Not only because they're a really awesome animal, because they have so much interspecies enrichment bonus with so many other animals. The okapi, pygmy hippo, bongo, western chimpanzee, western lowland gorilla, bonobo, mandrill, hippo, Nile lekwe, and the African buffalo all have interspecies enrichment bonus with the red river hog. Of course, these animals do not have interspecies enrichment with each other, which kind of makes it not the best candidate for a huge interspecies enrichment exhibit. But if you guys are hoping to pair your various animals with another animal, definitely throw a red river hog in there. It's a good chance that they might like each other. And here's the mess. I really had no idea how to make this one look pretty. But you can see that the African buffalo and Nile lekwe actually do connect us back to the red river hog. So you can make a potentially huge exhibit that has all of these animals sharing interspecies enrichment with each other. While I'm not going to go into specifics, you guys can just pause it at any point where I hover over any of these animals. I think it is very important to note that the Nyala up here only has 1 interspecies enrichment with another animal, and that is the southern white rhinoceros, which also has interspecies enrichment with the rest of the animals that you guys see here. Another very interesting thing to note is this little desert section down here, where we have the scimitar horned oryx sharing it with the dromedary camel, who shares it with the dama gazelle, the addax, the Somali wild ass, and then back to the reticulated giraffe. The reticulated giraffe also shares it with all of these animals up here, and I'll continue going through here, but one animal in particular shares so many other animals in their habitat that I think that makes them the perfect animal just to throw into a habitat. That one is the common ostrich. You can see all the range that it has over here. These guys are found all over Africa, whether they're in South Africa or all the way up north to Egypt. They're a really iconic species and they cross over a wide variety of habitats. If you guys are pining to give your animals just a little bit more enrichment, throw in an ostrich. But that is really it, my friends, for our little deep dive into interspecies enrichments. I really wanted to make this video before the next DLC came out because I felt like it would be really fun to do. But let me know what you guys have done in the past. Let me know the biggest habitats you've created, the maximum number of animals you put in there. It's so interesting to hear what you guys have to say. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to drop a little bit of a like so I know that you guys did enjoy it. And let me know what you guys mix in the future. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Take care, and goodbye.